Laura, oh my gosh. What an episode.
Dude, yeah, Cedric, that was wild.
Yeah.
We crushed it. We talked Olympic trials. Uh, we talked some other things. Honestly, we talked about how we're both just like kind of fried, and our brains are all over the place. But it was a great episode. Didn't you think so? One of our best.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, my name is Dominique Cedric Smith the first. So if that's kind of how we are rocking DCS on the beat, that's how we roll on here, all through no filler. It was a fun-filled episode recapping the first part of the Olympic trials, but it got a little deep there because we got a chance to talk about just some of the different perspectives that we took away from it and that we hope everybody else takes away from it. Laura is obviously a baller, so she announced that she is running the 2028 Olympic marathon
Did
trials.
I? Wow, I totally blacked that part of the episode out.
Actually, I kind of did, so ignore that
That's
and
true.
everything.
Anything's
Everything,
possible.
anything is possible, but it's got us in the spirit. We definitely talked about what we love so far, what we're looking forward to, and we answered some fan questions. Wasn't that awesome, dude?
It was awesome. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you have a lot of fun listening to this episode.
And listen, if you like what you're listening to or you're watching on YouTube, Laura, what should they do?
They should follow us on Instagram because if you follow us on Instagram and we get to 1,000 followers or more by August, Dom and I are going to reenact the Hidden Valley Ranch SNL skit live for you. So,
Uh,
little incentive there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch that skit and then you'll know what I'm talking about and then follow us.
yes. And in December, we will do an Instagram live of us doing that skits.
Yeah, because
Heaven
Dom's
help
gonna
us.
come out here in December, so we'll be together and reenact that. So anyway, follow us. All of that to say, please follow us. We would appreciate it.
Help heaven help us. Listen, hope you guys enjoy the episode and the second part of the Olympic trials. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We'll catch you next time. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and inks, and welcome to Lactic Acid. I'm Dom,
I'm Laura.
and together we are the dynamic duo, the sibling duo, the help us we po duo that makes up Lactic Acid with Dom and Laura. And guess
The
what?
29 duo. Come on, don't forget that one. That's our signature.
Hashtag, oh, let's get it going real quick. One, two, three.
29?
29. Hey, you know how we do it. All through and no filler. That's how we roll on here. We are rolling like a woodpecker with a headache because the
We are.
action just
We are tired and we're not even competing. This is hard.
listen, like Laura's been thriving with the capital T, but for the first time, it feels like that capital went to a lowercase.
I'm a lowercase thriving, still thriving, but I was sharing with Dom before we came on air. I was saying how I have newfound respect for everyone that does media for these types of events, for like the trials. Because talking about the races and the athletes and doing all the research and following everything super closely and doing all the podcasts and the Instagram lives and just like staying updated with everything is harder than when I
Yes.
actually ran in the trials. Like that was easier just being an athlete. So being on the other side of things has been very enlightening and it's been a new challenge for me and it's been really fun. And this has been a fantastic Olympic trials so far, probably one of the best I can remember. From like a fan side of things, it's been so much fun. But man, I was telling Dom, they do the 2 rest days for us, not,
Yes.
not for the athletes. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm still thriving. It's just like a lowercase t because wow, just so much has happened. And we're not done yet. We're only halfway through. We have what, 4 more days coming up. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to kind of recap some of our favorite moments of what we've seen so far and then give a little preview for the things we're excited for as we wrap this thing up. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I'm just like, whew, it's been
What's
what a 4 days.
what a 4 days? A four for four like Wendy's. What's something crazy non-track related that you like to share with the class?
Non-track related, just like
Yeah.
something crazy that's just like in life.
Yeah, something crazy. Good, bad, embarrassing. You know,
Um,
we on the last episode, we learned, or 2 episodes ago, we learned that my first name is not my real name.
Patrick.
Yes.
That's right. I was going to introduce you as it's lactic acid with Cedric and Laura.
Do
And
it,
it
do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Go for it. Laura,
hey,
actually, I just said do the intro. I don't want you to do the intro anymore.
don't
Uh,
see, thank you. Now you understand. You're like, no, you're going to be great. And now you're like, actually, you're right. I should always do the intro.
you know, when
So
Tina Turner, rest in peace, said, "What's love got to do with it?" I think this is what she was talking about. Like,
I
I
mean, I don't do the intros on Relay either. So like either
you
podcast.
did one.
I did one, but I feel like I forgot to introduce people. Like I forgot something and I was like, ah, shit. This is why we can't have nice things. So
Hey,
I don't know, I like blacked out. Like the intro feels like so much pressure. So those are the
shout out
pressure
to
I'm feeling right now.
Relay, the other podcast that Laura is balling out on. We actually had a little Relay Lactic Acid connection on Sunday night.
We did.
Uh,
It's great.
yes. Shout out to Matt Chittum for coming in, dropping some dimes of wisdom, and obviously bringing the heat, bringing the what we call it, bringing the Riz
Bringing
to
yeah, he's got that Riz. That is how the kids say it. I'm actually like up on that one.
yes. So I mean, I will say this: we're gonna do another one, because basically, you say the kids got the Riz. I feel like you have the Riz with the capital ZR.
Ooh, a capital R and capital Z. Check me
Yes,
out. Two caps.
two caps. No, I was about to say no caps. That's me. No cap. Cedric Smith. That's how we roll on here on
Cedric
Lactic
Smith.
Acid. I'm
Oh, Cedric, you're funny. You're funny today.
my name is Cedric, and that's Laura, and together we make up Lactic Acid with Cedric and Dom, or Cedric and Laura. Oh my God, I can't.
See, it's hard. The intro is hard. Dom and I are unwell. It's been a week for both of us.
It's been a year.
So well, it's been a year. It has been a year. Um, but no, we're really excited to do the show because we did a little bit of like our immediate reactions on Sunday night for those of you that tuned in to our Instagram live. Thank you so much. That was so fun. We're gonna do another one, as Dom said, on Sunday to wrap things up. But man, we've seen some things the first part of this Olympic trials. What's one of your favorite moments so far from the trials, or one of your favorite stories that we've gotten to witness?
Um, I will give that, but I have some breaking news.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Hand clap for my man Eric Cole.
We love
Brother
Eric
man
Cole.
just brother man just signed with Brooks. Oh no, no,
Oh
Puma.
my God, Eric Holt, congratulations. We love this for you. Also, don't forget, I picked you. You were on my team. I was rooting so incredibly hard. Love your story, love everything that you've sacrificed to give this dream everything. Those are the types of things I just like love getting behind. And I think it's just so relatable and inspiring to so many young athletes who are in the sport, and you just embody like your journey just really shows that there are so many different ways to get to where you want to get, and to see you sign your first big contract is so deserving. So Laura and Cedric are so pumped for you, and we want to have you on Lactic Acid. So I'll be reaching out. So please answer my message and we're going to get you on the show.
Oh boy. Um, I from the bottom of my heart, from the Cedric Smith Foundation, I just want to say congratulations. Eric, you are an embodiment of determination. You know your name. That's very important, and you have respect for your name and the people who have supported you. You are a fan favorite on Lactic Acid. Um, come on the show, be a part of the 29 crew. Let's
29?
29. We love to have you, brother, but I had to break it out with that. So, what was the question that you asked? I forgot.
Well, this is a good
Well,
segue.
performance.
I was, yeah, asking you like what some of your favorite moments have been from the trials so far, because there have literally been so many. I can't even like keep track of them all.
I loved a lot. Um, and it's so hard because there's so
There's
many
so
things
many,
that,
every event has its own storylines and it has so many incredible athletes coming from all these different places to like really compete and make this team. So it's a
oh
lot
man,
to keep up with. Like,
I I am so, you see, I am just cutting off greatness because
oh
I'm
no, no,
just
no, cut me
so
off. That I was like, that was my thought. So go ahead.
I'm just so
Go.
excited to answer the wonderful question that you asked, but also it's kind of funny because we did have that. I will say this: there's three, and I'll give. We'll figure out how we want to do it, but one that I don't think is getting talked about enough is Kendall Ellis,
Yes.
who
Also, I have a lot of questions about Kindle. Remember she shared that she got stuck in
in the
a
bathroom,
bathroom. Like, was it right before the prelim or like the semi? I
s-
can't remember. I think it was the
right
semi.
before the semifinals.
And I feel like she stated this and shared this, and then I'm like, no one like asked her about that. And then she went on to win the final and, etch her Olympic team spot. And I'm like, wait, but I want to know about this because that is everyone's nightmare, like 100%. Like I have race nightmares where I get stuck in a bathroom and then I miss the start of the race. So she lived that. And I was like, I want to know more. I want to know more about that. But that's not to take away the greatness that she displayed on the track. But I just like felt like we kind of skipped over this nightmare that she shared. And I was like, wait, I want to go back to that.
Wait, it is one of those things, but it's actually no, it's a perfect, for what I'm going to say. She has had to overcome injury. She's had to overcome so much to get to this point. And there's any race where you have to those lactic acid races, which is pretty much 200 up.
Mhm,
Obviously, when you get into sprints, that's its own pain. Sprinting is its own pain. Distance
mhm,
running is its
mhm,
own pain. But to watch her pull away from the field, and she was not favored to win. The
mhm.
young lady from Arkansas was favored. And there's so many unique storylines in that. But the fact that she overcame that to come through and get the win, 49-61. And if I'm not mistaken,
So
in the
bad.
semifinal, she PR'd.
Mhm.
And I believe I'm correct on that. And forgive me, I have it written down, but naturally the paper is somewhere else. But she ran an incredible race. Yep, she did PR.
Nice.
49-81. To come and to do that, that's the beautiful thing about the trials. We
Mhm.
talk about these stories of determination, we talk about these stories of effort, perseverance, and to see that come to light. Everybody at the Olympic trials has a story.
Yes.
Everybody has a story. When Laura Thweatt stepped to the line in Orlando, she had a story. And the story was of love, faith, perseverance, and how it made her who she is. And the fact that she ran freaking before, bracing everybody and saying, listen, I don't feel like dominating today, so I'm just going to be a Christian and let you guys do it. Was running
Sure.
225 pace with COVID. Listen, you know how it is.
Feels
Don't
like a
don't
better storyline.
I've been telling this story since February. It's like, listen, why don't you send her a thank you card with some money in it? Come on. We both we both have nails in our
Excitement.
tires right now.
Such a
So,
good idea. Yeah, exactly. We're both struggling with that.
but yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Pretty much. But go ahead, go ahead. You're fine.
no, I am going to piggyback off that. I think that's, and I mean, I've spoken on this before, so I feel like a broken record, but it's so true. I just feel like every athlete comes to these trials with their own story and their own journey of how they got there.
Yep.
And it's just so fun watching these races and watching these athletes just rise to the occasion and like really showcase who they are and what they've brought to the table. It's just so incredibly inspiring and it's so fun to watch. Um, so I was going to say another athlete for me along those lines is Anna Hall.
Yes.
Following her journey, like the fact that she had knee surgery, what was that like back in January or February?
Yep.
Like it really was not long ago. She started the year with that, was very unsure if she could get herself back. Spoke a little bit about how she kind of track stopped being fun and like the process stopped being fun and it became just this grind. And she had all this doubt and just like really wasn't sure if she could get herself back to where she knew she would need to be to make the team. And then she ends up winning the trials and qualifying for Paris. So again, it's just really those are kind of the stories I find just so relatable because it's showcasing not only the highs of the sport, but it's showcasing how hard this is and like all of the behind the scenes that goes into these moments that we all see on TV, but there's so much more to that. And so the trials is always fun because I feel like it finally kind of showcases a little bit as to what some of these athletes have gone through and what their stories have been. Like en route to making the team and how hard that can really be. And just the pressure that comes with that. Even if you haven't overcome an injury and you didn't, everything went smoothly and you got yourself here with no major hiccups, like the pressure to rise to the occasion, and to make it through all these rounds and to make the team, like that in itself is so incredibly hard. So yeah, it's just been an incredible trials for those kind of stories, which I think is just like, again, makes it so fun as a fan.
I'm gonna give another athlete, and we'll just do a couple more athletes, and then we'll get to the second part. Um, but I gotta give a shout out to. It's not even a shout out. I say this almost kind of to caution people. There's been a lot of stuff that has happened that none of us expected. Um, Heart goes out to Sister Mo
Mm.
because that was heartbreaking. That made me cry.
Same. I think
Um,
all of us, like we were doing like a team, like a track party viewing and or track club viewing, and it got silent for a minute when she fell. And then I remember just like looking around the room after, and it's like we were all so elated for the three women who made that team because that's just so incredible. And like they all ran unbelievably. And I'm so pumped that that's our 800 team for Paris. But then like they obviously have the camera on a thing, and a part of me was like, get that camera off of her. Like let
I
her
was just about to say that.
like, stop zooming in on her. She's heartbroken. She's sobbing. Her Olympic dream is over. Like, it's done. Because of this freak thing, and she fell. It was just so heartbreaking that I had tears in my eyes, like watching them like zoom in on her and like just again, like I can't even imagine like what she is feeling and what she is experiencing in that moment after, again, talk about a journey.
Yeah.
And everything she's been so open and honest about, and just like how vulnerable she has been in sharing how hard things have been as she's made this transition. And like, after winning the Olympic gold and then worlds last year, and just like the immense pressure that she carries at such a young age, and how that's kind of affected things for her, injuries, and then to see it all end that way, you're like, it's not supposed to end that way. And then when they were trying to like get her on the camera, like my heart just like shattered for her. And I think everyone in the room was quiet, and we all were kind of like, there were just like tears. Like you're just like, I mean, your heart just breaks. Like the sport can be so fucking cruel sometimes.
Yeah. It's
Just so
it's
fucking, it'll just rip your heart out. You can do everything right and be in the best position to go after these things. And, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out, or, a freak thing happens. And then that's it for 4 years. That's it. And it's not to say there's not other opportunities and she's not going to go on and be able to like maximize other things and hopefully have an incredible summer season. But Olympic wise, like that's it. A fall and you're out.
yeah.
She's the defending Olympic champion, and she got caught up and tripped and fell, and it's over. And you're just like, it's like an incredibly hard thing to come to terms with and to process and to feel. So my heart is completely shattered for her. That was a really painful moment, I think, for all of us in the sport to watch.
And she still could run the 4x4. There's some different things that could happen for her to make the team, but still,
Okay. But
um,
still,
just this. I'm so glad you said it. I said it Sunday night. I hate that that is the image, and then what happens is because that is the last thing you're putting the camera on so long. People are taking the clips of that entire showing from her finishing the race. Shout out to her for doing that.
100%. I mean, that just speaks to the athlete she is,
And
and the character that she has. Is like she knew obviously that everything was over at that point, and she like got herself to that finish line and just like handled herself with such grace and professionalism. And like no one would have blamed her if she didn't finish, right? Like I'm not
yeah,
saying like, there's right or wrong in that, but I thought it was incredible that she got herself across that line. And then she does that, and then there's a camera in her face, and I was like, can you give her some, like, can you respect her and like give her some space and let her deal with this of like the way that she needs to without televising it to millions of people? Like, Jesus.
Like everybody knows she's sad, but
Oh
then
my
to have it that long from her pretty much crossing the finish line to getting, you know, to, underneath the stadium close to the mix zone or whatever the case might be, I saw people take clips of that and it's all over social media. Like,
God.
what is the point? Now, granted, there was a lot of people. There were 4.6 million people who tuned into the Olympic trial. I think even more.
Wow.
So shout out to everybody who tuned into that. You were treated to a phenomenal series of races.
Yes.
Um, but not just a thing. Brooke Anderson, who was the world champion a couple years ago in the women's hammer. Logie
Mhm.
Tusanga, who was the women's discus holder. I'm sorry, who won the championship, upset Val Allman in the discus. They didn't make it to the finals of their event. They scratched on all three throws. Now, I will tell you this as a thrower at the district championship in the discus, your boy scratched on all three throws. Um, Now, granted, I had the shot put, and listen, some chicken was getting fried that day. I didn't care who was getting cooked, but I was frying that chicken. And thankfully we did. But that's like, as an athlete, and that's not to say, oh, I know how I feel. Like, no, that's the Olympics. That's 4 years. But for somebody, and I say that I bring myself into that to say the average person can, have a recollection of a disappointment
Mhm.
that you can say, you know what? That was something that was hurtful, that was horrible. I sympathize with what they're going through. So I say two things. Let's have grace for these people because this is part of the trials. This is the trials. This is the joy. Frankie Beverly and Maze, they have a song that I love. It says joy and pain, like sunshine.
That is the trials. It's joy and pain. That truly is what it is. It's just like, just depends what side of that you fall on. Like it is,
Yes.
you see it all, and it's also very raw. And it's just like remembering that like the athletes you're watching are like people and are
Yeah.
experiencing raw human emotion that comes along with whatever end they're falling on. And it's just like, it's important to remember that, so.
But I wanted to finish off, but then I'm going to get to the next person by saying don't count out or don't dismiss the people who did
100%.
make the team. Even though they may not have been on your I keep saying people I keep seeing people say Nia Atkins, they're not even gonna qualify
Oh my
for the
God.
final. They're not even gonna make the final. Allie Wilson's not gonna make the final. Let me tell you something. I will be honest with you. You don't know the conditions on the day of Paris. You just don't. If it's like 1,000 degrees, I don't see anybody running 157. If it's like 40 degrees, I don't see that. But if she runs the way she's been running,
All three of those women proved that they deserve to be on that Olympic team and that they are like three of the best that our country could possibly send. Like they all have run under the Olympic standard of 159, which is no joke in the 800. Nia has proven that she can run under 159 consistently. Like Ali ran the Olympic standard at 158. Juliette Whitaker has had an incredible collegiate season and is showing that she's still in top form. Like all three of those women ran unbelievable and did everything, in my opinion, to showcase like, hey, like we're the team to send to Paris, right? And it's like, of course, no one wants to see what happened to a thing happen in a race. Of course not. Like it reminded me of 2021 when Leah O'Connor fell
Leah
in the
Fallon.
steeple and she was like, yeah, Leah Fallon, excuse me. Fell in the steeple and I think it was like 2 laps to go maybe and she was like in that kind of third position behind like Emma and Courtney. And Val ran an incredible race and ran her way onto that team and like it was like people were discrediting that and like they were like,
Mhm.
oh, if Leah didn't fell, Val wouldn't have made it. And it's like that is so disrespectful to Val, who had an unbelievable race and did everything to showcase that she's just as good. And she made that freaking Olympic final. So it's like, well, haters are gonna hate, but she backed up what she did at the trials. And of course, like everyone's heart was broken for Leah, just like everyone's heart is broken for a thing, and you never want to see Like, it's like the same with Hillary Borg, right? Like,
Yes. Oh my
you know, you can
gosh.
go on and on about, and like, I think that, and this is a different podcast episode, but I think that like that's what's sparking the debate right now with like, do you have an Olympic trials, right? Because freak things like this can happen, and things, you know, can happen that are completely out of athletes' control. And like, you know, they're on paper the best in the country or the best in the world, given like their resume and what they have done. But they can get left off teams. And it's like, you know, you can go either way on that, but I think it's really disrespectful to discount the athletes who rose to the occasion and ran out of their minds to earn those spots fair and square. To kind of, it's so disrespectful to be like, well, you know, if a thing hadn't fallen, you know, so and so wouldn't have made it, or are we sending the best team, you know, like that's so
Yep.
disrespectful. And like, I hate that. And it's like, that's part of the trials, like we just spoke on, like that's what makes making the Olympic team, like at least for our, like our country does it differently. Every country kind of has their own way of doing it. But like that's what I think is such a beautiful thing about the trials, is it really allows anyone to rise to the occasion and have that day. And it is so heartbreaking when like the cards don't fall that way for everyone, and sometimes they don't fall that way for, you know, whoever like we believe the best on paper is. But I don't know, like again, that's a different podcast episode, I'm not going to dive into that right now. But yeah, I think to your point, like let's also, while we're heartbroken for a thing, and like, I just, that's just, no one wanted to see that happen. No one wanted the race to play out that way. But it did. And let's not discredit the women that made that team, because they ran out of their minds. And I think we're sending an absolutely incredible team to Paris. So I think that's the point we're both trying to make.
Yep. And it's beautifully said. Listen, old people I can't use that analogy. Let me think of something else.
Old people. It's like, wait, where are you going with that? Where's
Oh,
that sentence going?
oh, can't use. I'm gonna text it to you. But
Okay.
all right, that's the after show. That's the Patreon episode.
That's the Patreon, guys. We're gonna set up a Patreon page where we have like bloopers and like outcuts, or like cuts, like
Yes,
outtakes. That's the word I'm looking for. Outcuts. Oh my god,
outcuts.
change in my mind.
Oh, this is help us. We're pulling spirit today.
We are poor in spirit today. We are doing our best here, you guys.
Let the Bible say, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." So, Lord, we need that blessing. Uh, that's crazy. You're telling the Lord, "Help us." We pull like that's
Oh my
crazy.
god, in so many ways. Anyway,
But anyway, no, I was gonna say, okay, a quote that I could say. Like they say, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So, like I said,
oh,
celebrate all the good ones. One
yes.
person I think deserves celebrating in the sprints. Everybody's gonna talk about Noah Lyles. Kenny Bednarik, and this is not the guy. Everybody keeps sleeping on Kung Fu Kenny. I call him Kenny G because he's smooth like Kenny G.
Mm.
But the jazz player, y'all learn your history,
I know
Kenny
who Kenny
G.
G is.
I didn't say you did. I know
Okay.
you.
I
I know.
was like, excuse me. I know who that is.
I
Okay.
know. Listen, come on now. We family. I know. I
Big fan.
know. You know, your food taste might be interesting, but your music taste is good too.
Yeah, come on now.
Come on now. Basically, I have to cook for Laura, so I can't really say that.
It's true. I'm definitely not. I don't bring that to this relationship. I'm not a chef or a cook. Anyway,
No.
Kenny.
Shout out to that salmon salad, but salmon Caesar.
Such a basic bitch. Anyway,
Stop. Salmon Caesar, Trader Joe's sweet potato fries. She can cook a mean ribeye when she cooks it right.
I it's true. I can do one thing, and that's it. But you know,
Yes, okay,
Kenny,
back to
yeah, back to Kenny. That was a weird segue.
back.
Wow, what's happening? Where are we? What day is it?
Also, what's the best? Y'all answer this in the chat. What's the best way to get your steak cooked? We'll get back to that in a second. Um, Kenny has been consistent, and I think don't sleep on him in the men's 200. But there's a guy who scratched the men's 200 today because he doesn't need to run the 200 because he's already on the team. Frederick Curley the first. I got to give a shout out to Fred because Fred, you cannot shake his confidence.
So amazing.
Fred is one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. And he has a swag about him
Mhm.
that is like a deuce and a quarter, one of them old school cars. That is, if ribeye steak had a tough, it's Fred Curly. Like that is Fred. And the fact that I don't know who he's sponsored by. He came out there with an Oakley kit on. So if we can get some prescription glasses sent here, I would appreciate it. Because today, if there was any indication, also if you're in Orlando and you saw me walking around just in the middle of traffic and squinting, I am so sorry. If I got my eyes dilated, it was 98 degrees. I couldn't see. I'm sorry. But
He's
what
unwell.
I'm unwell. It's been a year. But what I'm not sorry about is the shout out because I always say this, Laura, you just have to make the dance. Once you
Hmm.
get your foot in the door, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Hmm.
Like it is something. I am not confident in anybody winning the men's 100 this year. And
Hmm.
that's we're gonna save that for
Big track.
Paris.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that tells me Fred Curley can't win because there's been inconsistencies with some of the African runners. They run well in the season, and then every now and then in the championships, they may not show up. Obviously, Noah Lyles is going to be the favorite. But somebody like Fred, he's got the mentality. He's got that riz. He's got that pizzazz. He's got that. He's got it. He's got the effect. He got the dog in him.
He's
Like
got
what
it. Yeah.
Quincy,
Yeah.
what Quincy Hall said, I got that dog in me. Shout out to my dog Quincy. Um, but yeah, I gotta go with Frederick. Who is yours? Let's do one more.
Um, let's see here. God, there's just like so many. Looking at my notes here. Hmm. Man, I mean, I think it's been pretty phenomenal to see Ellie do what she's doing,
Yeah.
given that, she's just coming off having her first child, and just like the road back, doesn't always go that way. That can be a really hard road back. And so it's been pretty remarkable to see her do what she's doing. I definitely give a shout out to Elise. Again, knowing a little bit about her journey and just some of the changes that she's made, which have been pretty major changes all within the last year. And just to see her step out there on the track in both the prelim and the final and do what she did just so confidently and like just so sure of what she can do and who she is always really kind of like chilling to watch and inspiring to see athletes just be able to like show up on the day, regardless of kind of all of the pieces they've had to put back together to get there. um and then I thought Nico Young ran an incredible 10K
Yeah.
as well. Like he looked like he was in the Hurt Locker like 3 miles in, and I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
he looked like he had gone to the darkness. As someone who regularly goes to the darkness, I was like, he is like, and like sometimes athletes just like that's just how they look when they race, but like he looked a little like he just looked like he had gone into that space early and he was gonna die there. And I thought, and then another shout out, Drew Hunter, I thought ran
Yes.
unbelievably well. He just looked like that was such an incredible run. And I thought with 200 to go in the men's 10K, Drew was gonna get Nico. I was like 100%. And then Nico just like kept digging. He kept finding gears, and I was like, "How do you have these gears? Like you've been maxed out since like 5K." So that was a really fun race to watch. Shout out to my boy Sam Chalanga. It was awesome seeing him like get in the mix of the 10K and lead a couple laps, and I think he finished seventh, which is like pretty remarkable. And yeah, it's just been cool because I feel like I've been watching Sam run like, like we were in college at the same time. And to kind of just like see him be as consistently good and like be at that level that he's been at for so long and then show up at the track trials at like 38, 39 and like throw himself in the mix. Again, very inspiring. So those are all the top of my head shout outs. Obviously, there's so many more. Also, there's a really cool like 8 minute video that was put out by I gotta look it up really quick. I can't remember who put it out, but it was on Shakari and it was on like her journey
Yeah,
and kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
like, you know what I'm talking about? Did you see
yeah.
that?
I did.
Twitter. I don't remember. I'll post it in my story, or we can like add it to our notes for
We'll
you
add
guys.
it to the notes.
We'll add it to the notes. That brought tears to my eyes. I obviously knew pieces of kind of her journey, but she like was really vulnerable and really opened up in the short film about her childhood and how she got into running and some of the battles and like demons that she fought along the way to kind of like get herself to where she is. And I just didn't know those pieces. And so that was definitely recommend watching that. That was really incredible. So yeah, those are all of my top of my head notes of things that have stuck out to me so far. Oh, Matt Wilkinson in the men's steeple. That was also incredible. My boy. So called it. It was really cool to see him have that kind of day and run himself onto an Olympic team. Again, those are the stories that like you just like, you can't help but root for those athletes. And
Legend
just
says,
yeah.
legend says that he's still in shock.
Oh my
Uh,
God. I mean, that's like, I can't like, so seeing all those photos and like him crossing the line and his face is just like he said in his interview, he was just like, I feel like this might be a dream. And I was like, it's not a dream, man. Like you did it. But like, I mean, I can't imagine what that moment would be like. So it was just really cool to see him have that moment. So that was a fun race too.
are you excited to have that moment in 2028?
Yeah, I mean, if, I watched like Evan Yeager, almost run himself onto an Olympic team at 35. I'm 35. I'm like, okay, you know, you can still do it. And oh my God. Um, my brain is fried. She was second in the heptathlon. She's
Oh,
33.
Chari Hawkins.
Sorry. Oh my God. I've watched like all of her interviews on Sidious, which are great, great watches if you guys haven't watched that. And she shares her story. She's 33, just kept showing up and has now earned an Olympic spot. Again, those are the kind of stories as like an older athlete. Seeing that is very inspiring and just like shows you that if you believe in what you're doing, you love what you're doing, you keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep showing up, like there's no reason it can't happen. And it doesn't have to happen on this timeline that sometimes we kind of get caught up in thinking that it has to happen. So that's been a really fun part for me watching these trials is seeing so many different, like you have all these incredible collegiate athletes, incredible high school athletes, but then you also have these like athletes in their mid 30s and you're like fucking yeah like we're still out here like representing and showing up and like 12 years down the track still doing it. So it's been a fun mix of like all sorts of like different types of generations and ages, and it's just been cool. So
Quickly, so give me two things, and then we have a couple fan questions, and then we're gonna
Ooh.
wrap this up. Two things that you're excited about heading into the next phase. It could be events, people, or just a vibe.
I'm pumped for the women's 1500. Like let's fucking go. I am so excited to watch that shake out. I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen. I think it
Yeah,
could go 1,000 different ways. So I'm really excited for that. I'm pumped to watch Sid in the 400-meter hurdles. I picked her for my fantasy team for relay also. So, let's see. I'm pumped for the men's five. The
she's
men's
pumped for
eight.
everything.
Oh, I'm pumped for everything. Okay, I'm pumped for everything. I'm pumped for who's my uh, I keep getting his name wrong. Shane. Coleman in the 800. I'm
If
really
you have a story, Laura picked you. I just want you to know. If you have a story, you could have bumped your head, you could have an ingrown toenail, but if you overcame that,
I
Laura
love
is
his story. I'm so pumped for him. Cohen, right? Shane Cohen. I think I
yes,
got that right. I'm so pumped for him. I see his journey ending on the Olympic team. So
yes.
I'm pumped for everything. Okay. I mean, the second half of the trials, I think, is gonna be just as good as what we just saw. So it's gonna be a fun weekend. What are you pumped for?
I am pumped because I think we're going to see a lot of fast times. I'm pumped for the men's 200 with Noah Lyles versus Kenny Bednarik. Kenny G, as I like to call him, has the fastest time in the world, 1967. Noah Lyles ran 1977 in a headwind
Showdown.
back in New York. So it's going to be showdown central. Courtney Lindsay. Do not sleep on brother Lindsay. Because he has run 1971, so that's going to be exciting. I am excited
Do
Yeah,
you think
so
that Rai Benjamin will wear a bib at the Olympic trials?
I do, and I think it will be it. Uh, free my
I want
dog
to watch
Rye.
him run too. God, so many things.
Free Rye. I think Rye's the ultimate. He's gonna win. It's just who's gonna make up two and three because
Mm.
there's a lot. I'm excited to see if Grant Holloway can break the world record in the
Oh
hurdle
my God,
since he
he looks
decided
good.
that he almost wanted to do it
Yeah, he
the other
looks
night.
ready to rock.
Um, and I'm excited. There's a name I want everybody to watch. Kara Winger. I
Mm.
said it a couple weeks ago. Kara Winger decided to go to New York and just come out of retirement just to see if she can make the team. And right now, she is just shy of the Olympic standard, but I have her winning, making
Mm.
her fifth Olympic team.
Five
And I,
Olympic Games. My
yes,
God.
her fifth Olympic team, and I have her getting a medal. You heard it here first on Lactic Acid. Kara, we love you. So we're rooting for you. It is going to be exciting. Before we get to the questions, why are you so enamored with just the different stories? And it's just a genuine question because
Well,
everybody has their reason, but I'm curious, what's your reason?
I feel like that's how you get to know who these athletes are. Like, like I'm such a journey person because like I say, like there truly is so many different ways to get yourself to this level and to get yourself onto an Olympic team. And I think it's still so common for people to think it has to go a certain way or look a certain way. And so I love when we finally get to kind of like hear these athletes' stories and see how they've gotten themselves here because it truly is different for everyone. And it just showcases not only who they are as an athlete, but like who they are as people. And I think that's what the sport needs. The sport needs more stories. Like, I want to create platforms in the sport for athletes to share these stories and to share their journeys. And I think that's what really brings fans into it is when you can see yourself in an athlete and when you can relate to their story. I think it's just like that's how you grow the sport. That's how you get young athletes into the sport. That's how you get people that really don't really know much about track and field or maybe aren't runners themselves. But they get pulled in by a Sha'Carri or a Noah or like, these athletes that are starting to kind of transcend the sport and kind of break out onto more of like a global stage. I think it's so important to show who they are. And so that's why I'm all about showcasing that. And I don't think we do that enough. And I don't think we do athletes justice all the time because we kind of just show who they are when they're racing and like that's it. And we don't get this well-rounded perspective of who they really are and what they've been through to get here. And I just think
Yeah.
that's so important.
Well, amen, sister.
And that's what we're doing. We're trying to do that because we are eventually going to have athletes on the show.
We
And
promise.
that's what Dom and I want to do. We want to like that's what this platform is. We want to bring athletes on and give them a space to really talk on things that they're passionate about, to talk on things maybe outside of what they do on the track. And just kind of give them a chance to like showcase everything else that like makes them who they are and share their stories. Like that's what we're trying to do with this. And I think that's so important.
That's been like the best compliment like that I've gotten, just with lactic acid. And now to have you on board, it's like, I don't know. I feel like we have ideas and some stuff cooking. So I don't want to get too deep and too personal. Uh, but Laura's the best thing to happen to lactic acid. And
Oh, stop
uh,
it.
I am 100% right in that. And hopefully you guys feel the same. We got 5 questions, but we're gonna do two today.
Oh, 5 questions. Look at us. You guys really showed up. We love that.
It's 5 questions from 2 people. So shout out to Marcus Allen Heil. Did I get it right?
Hilly. So close though.
Big Marcus, Big Marcus. Give a shout out to Big Marcus real quick. Marcus on three. One, two, three.
Marcus,
Marcus, woo.
we love you.
If you heard the first episode that Laura and I did back in 2022,
I
she
forgot
brought
about
him
that.
up.
So
She
Marcus is
was
my practitioner and one of my best friends. I've been working with Marcus since 2016. We've been through a lot together. And he's the voice in my head that is always telling me to be cool and not be an idiot and like overdo it. Anyway, he's also the drummer in a punk rock band here in Denver called Bury Mia, and we are huge fans on the show. I go to a lot of the concerts. I post a lot of videos of me headbanging and just going hard because they're awesome. But on the first show with Dom, I'm talking about Marcus, and Dom, I said my practitioner, like I meant like my like he's like he does like my body work, you know. He's like kind of like my PT guy. And I said practitioner, and Dom thought he was like my family doctor, like a physician. And he was like, that's kind of sick that your doctor is like a hardcore, like punk rock drummer. I was like, no, wait, he's not my doctor. And so I told Marcus that, and Marcus couldn't stop laughing.
Like honestly, I'm like, okay, cool. He's
You're like,
punk rocker
wow,
by
that's
night.
cool. Like your healthcare provider like rocks out in a punk rock band. Cool.
It's like crazy. He rocks out at night in flip flops and then dresses up during the day to give like check your blood
Yeah,
pressure and
does
like
like
take your
surgery and
blood.
stuff. I'm like, no, no, he's like not that kind of doctor. He
Um,
does work miracles. That man has kept me running and healthy for the last like 7 years. So we love him. He's great.
America runs on Marcus.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
100%. I mean, Laura definitely does. So
Laura is America. America runs on Marcus. We're gonna answer. He asked. He asked one. I want to give myself a week to pronounce the word right. Laura had to pronounce it for me. Do
I
you
was
want
like,
to
I
answer?
think this is what you're trying to say. You were like, he was like sounding it out like phonetically, and I was like, wait, I think this is the word you're looking for.
Do you want to do that question first, or do you want to do the more serious one?
Let's do the more serious one, and we'll end on
The light
that.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you both communicate with yourselves when experiencing self-doubt?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I have really struggled with that, especially the last few years. I've really started to doubt myself and my ability to do what I do. Um, and I think the biggest thing is finding like when you start to kind of feel yourself slip into that mindset, is like having a phrase or something that you can like tell yourself that kind of grounds you and brings you back. And I just like I take a moment to like take a step back and look at all of the things I'm really proud of, and I think back on my achievements or accomplishments, or things that I've worked really hard for and had that success with. And I remind myself that I can do it and I can do hard things. That's my phrase. Like, Laura, you can do hard things. And like, this is just a hard moment, but it's not a moment you're going to be in forever. And so I like recall things I'm really proud of myself for. And remind myself that I'm a badass and that I overcame so many things to do those things, to achieve those things. And I can overcome whatever self-doubt or moment like or like hard moment I'm in and overcome that to get myself back to like where I know I can be. But like it's hard. That's like easier said than done. You have to be patient with yourself. You need to be gentle and kind to yourself. Beating yourself up definitely doesn't get you anywhere. And it's just like, again, it's just talking to yourself positively and remembering some of the things you're really proud of yourself for. And then like putting those thoughts in your head instead of beating yourself down for like things you feel like you didn't do or things you feel like you maybe failed or missed at. It's just replacing those with things that you're proud of yourself for. So that's a really great question. And just know that you're not alone. Like we all deal with self-doubt and we all go through periods of life, whether it's in sport or not, where we were lacking confidence in ourselves. So you're not alone in that. Like everyone goes through that. But it's just finding little tips and tricks to kind of talk yourself through those moments and not beat yourself up for having those moments. And it's really important who you surround yourself with and having a support system that you can lean on because you don't have to pull yourself out of those moments by yourself. And I also learned that over the last year that people in your life who love you want to be there to help you work yourself through those moments. And so lean on them. You don't have to feel like you have to do everything by yourself.
Everybody, give Laura a round of applause for being Laura. Come on, clap your hands too. You can clap for yourself. Come on, clap your
Clap for
hands.
yourself.
Clap for Laura. No, that was a beautiful answer, and there's a lot of things that you said that are extremely true. I think for me, when I saw this question, I was like, okay, my initial answer is to hold it in until it turns into a health problem. Um,
Don't do that.
Um, so that
Don't do
was
that. That's not what you want to. I mean, we have all done that, Dom,
so.
but don't do that. Learn from our mistakes.
Can you just not tell me what to do? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
I will tell you not to do that.
Um, so, so,
Hold it in until it becomes a health problem. You heard it here first, guys. Lactic acid with Cedric and Laura.
so, that's what Cedric would do.
Okay.
Um,
What would Dom do though?
Listen to Cedric, but no,
Also,
not really.
also incorrect. Try again.
This was supposed to be a serious answer, and I am not sorry that I didn't turn into that. Um, I think for me, my faith is important because it's what guides me, but it helps me when you reach the pinnacle, like the pinnacle of whatever the self-doubt, you have to kind of base it on certain things. Are things accusatory? And then what is the truth? And if something accuses you, if you're guilty or something, or you need to look in the mirror, that's one thing. But if you know that you're giving it your best and you have a humble attitude about it, um, you have to kind of be able to decipher what is true and what is a lie. And I think for me, as Laura said, you have to surround yourself with the people. And I think that's a important part of, like, one of the important parts of my faith is there's going to be a lot of people that say, you know, they present themselves as somebody that could benefit you. But there's an old saying that I love, that's what's good to you is not always good for you. And so they could be good to you from the standpoint of telling you things you want to hear, but that might not be good for you because it could destroy your confidence when everything hits the fan. And so surrounding yourself with people who tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And what you need to hear is the truth. And the truth is not always you suck. The truth is sometimes it's like, hey, you're doing good. Give yourself some grace.
Mhm.
Do something good for yourself. Last week, Laura told me you left me a really nice voice message.
Mhm.
And you said, take time to do something for yourself. So on my lunch break, I went and bought a piece of chicken.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that. You have
and
to have little wins for yourself, you know?
I don't know if it was a win because Target, y'all got to season that chicken better. I'm sorry.
It's like a half win.
But you get my drift.
Yeah, you got to do a little self-care every day and you have to give yourself little moments where you like whether it's like you treat yourself to something or you go for a 5-minute walk or you call someone that you love and you want to talk to or you go get yourself, a fun little drink. That's what I always do.
Yeah.
Or you go to Target and buy a candle. Like, I don't know. It's different for everyone, but yeah, you got to do little things when you're kind of in hard moments to give yourself a little reprieve and just take a breath and like be kind to yourself. Like that's one of the biggest things I've learned over the last few years. You gotta take those moments every day. So I'm glad you did that.
Last, yeah. And like I said, it's sometimes it also, when you listen to the truth, it brings on the proper perspective. And so, for me, that perspective is my faith, the truth, having a very strong support system. I always say I don't have a big net of people because I don't want a big net of people. I just want the people who are meant to be by my side who make me a better person. And thankfully, I have that. Y'all's co-host. This is my co-host. Uh, um,
I can be everyone's co-host. That's cool.
yeah. My co-host happens to be one of those people, and um, some of y'all ain't listening to it, and that's okay. There's grace, but it's just that. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm tired. But
Yeah, that was a great answer and it makes a lot of
yes,
sense. And you
last question. There's three of these. What stadium would be? This is from Jaden Quinn. Shout out to my girl Jaden. Jaden, love you, girl. You're the
what up,
best.
Jaden?
Jaden, actually, if you looked at our intro, Jaden, when I announced Laura would be on the show, Jaden is the one that did that intro, and she did not charge me, but I paid her anyway. I hope you enjoyed those 5 pieces of chicken that I bought, Jaden. Um, what stadium would be the coolest for a track meet? Not wait, yeah. What stadium would be the coolest for a track meet? Not that doesn't have a track in it.
Uh, Madison Square Garden.
Ooh, Staples Center.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be pretty sick. Sick. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Those are
Well, I know y'all submitted more questions, but listen, we're gonna answer them next week. And
yeah, we're
listen,
gonna roll them over.
on Sunday, date TBD. Well, I'm sorry, time TBD. We will hop on IG Live. Thank you for everybody who came on, who asked
Yeah, that was
questions.
so great. We appreciated you being there with us on
Um, if
Monday.
you missed it, I had a fro on. I don't know if that's going to be making a
It
return.
was amazing. Dom looked incredible. I was like a shell of myself because I was so tired, slash trying to process everything that I had just seen. Speaking of, I totally forgot to even talk about the women's 10K. I'm also really pumped for that. God, there's so many things. I just wanted to slide that in there. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even hit on that. Anyway, that's the beauty of our Instagram live on Sunday. We are going to hit the second half of the trials. We're obviously going to hit everything that happens on Sunday. That'll be kind of like our last little recap. So please join us for that. It'll be really fun. It's a fun way for us to engage with you. So yeah.
And then next week we'll think of something else to talk about. But
Yeah,
listen,
we come up with something every week. We just kind of throw things at the wall, see what sticks.
see that sticks. Listen, if you and let's hope this one sticks. If you like what you're listening to, tell your mama, your daddy, the lily in the alley, tell your dog, your cat, your pet goldfish to like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Lactic Acid on Instagram. Road to 1K, because if we hit 1K by August, we will reenact the ranch scene, the Hidden Valley ranch scene from SNL.
HBR in my mouth.
HBR, everybody hates Sue. Nobody likes her. Shout out to any Sue that's out there. We love you. But until then, love, piece of chicken grease. We'll catch you next time.